Hi and welcome to Framed, a Let's Play with a focus on cinematography. My name's Aubrey and I'm going to be your host. Today, we're playing Uncharted 4, Chapter 14, Join Me in Paradise. As always, could be spoilers, so please watch out for that. If you haven't played the game, I highly recommend you play Uncharted 4 and then come back and watch my Let's Play. Thanks.
No houses, wide street. Clearly a commercial district of some kind.
Yes, thank you for that, Nathan. Come on. What do you see?
You just want to hear me say it, don't you?
Really want to hear you say it.
All right. Libertalia.
Libertalia! The long-lost legendary pirate utopia discovered after 300 years by one Samuel Drake. And his younger, slightly less charming brother who happened to be tagging along for the ride. You know, I always knew you'd make something of yourself one day.
Yeah, just so you know, it's not my first lost city.
You should just enjoy the moment. So where you want to start?
How about that building right over there?
Oh, you mean the one with the massive guard tower?
Yeah, I say we go see what it was guarding.
Works for me. This is... I mean, I'm speechless. Holy goddamn shit, Nathan!
That's your idea of speechless?
God, how long do you think it took them to build this place?
Years. Decades, even. How the hell did they keep it a secret all that time?
It's just this place. I mean, even without the treasure, this is quite the find.
If only Alcazar saw it that way.
You just can't let us enjoy this, can you?
I'm enjoying it. But we have a goal here, remember?
Trust me, I know about the goal.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, then.
You can hear Sam just be absolutely giddy about everything, while Nate has reservations, rightly so. For him, he thinks a drug lord is about to kill his brother if they don't completely fulfill this request. And there's a high likelihood that there is no treasure here, despite all of this. But he is a little relieved that they even found Libertalia. So there's clear blue skies, you notice in the sky right now, and a mountain, but there are some clouds, and there is some storm kind of brewing slightly. I think that's pretty telling for Sam and Nate's relationship, actually, at the moment. This scene upcoming is one of my favorite in the game. It's actually what inspired me to make a Let's Play of this game. So, let's watch.
Not a bad view.
Hey. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
What were they doing here?
What, the colonists?
Yeah. I mean, you throw your lot in with these infamous outlaws, then what?
You know, take a load off, find some refuge, enjoy a little grog. It's far worse fates.
Yeah, I guess. Except you have to see Avery's statue every day. Hey, you ever wonder, like, with different choices, how we might have ended up?
I mean, like you taking your magic show on the road?
No, that was an option. I was
It
good.
was not a viable option.
What? You know what? You're just jealous. You always were. No, but I mean, what would our lives have been like if we hadn't started by chasing these people who've been dead for hundreds of years? You think it would resemble more of a normal life?
Normal. You've got everybody gathered around the table for Thanksgiving, exchanging all the baby photos, something like that. No, no, thank you. Not for me. I like the hand we've been dealt.
Yeah, heard that before.
Come on, we're fortunate, man.
This is fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I've been locked up for the last 15 years, so it's all relative, I suppose.
All right, well, I'll give you that. This is much better than prison.
The scene is such a perfect encapsulation of the brothers' diverging values, it blows my mind that it's optional. When they first sit down, Nathan asks, "What were they doing here?" And there's a pause, and Sam asks, "Who, the colonists?" I think that could be easily read as a double entendre of what the brothers are actually doing here. Because Nate's questioning everything right now. The fatalism, if he hadn't been a treasure hunter, everything really. He enjoys treasure hunting. He's glad that he's here, but he's had to sacrifice a lot. If you'll notice, Sam's sitting in the chair that's in full sunlight, and Nathan sits in the chair that's only a tiny sliver of sunlight with mostly shadow. And I think it represents them, you know. Sam has been dreaming of this day since forever, basically. And he's been in prison the past 15 years. He never knew if he was going to get here. All he's wanted is to discover Libertalia and this crazy pirate treasure and go on this adventure with his brother. And yet Nate's had to sacrifice a lot to get here. He's not sure if he's ever going to get Elena back or go to that future of building a family and having a, quote, normal life that Sam dismisses. Sam doesn't want to trade baby photos at Thanksgiving, but Nate looks a little crestfallen during that scene. He could see himself doing that, and he's had fun doing adventures. And I think there's always a part of Nate that needs adventure, but he doesn't know how to reconcile the two yet, or if there is any possibility of ever having a reconciliation. So, I don't know. I just think it's just such a beautiful illustration of how the brothers diverge. And I love that scene so much. I cannot tell you.
Avast, you dirty dog! Nice. I was doing the...
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
I was doing the thing.
Right. You're a horrible pirate.
So when Nathan runs up these stairs, he discovers a door with a cross on it. And it turns out that he's locked and he can't get in. And he's not very surprised. You'll see here.
Locked, of course.
And why I think that's funny and worth noting is that Nate has never really seen eye to eye with religion. He's never seen like he's on the path of the quote-unquote blessed or is righteous or whatever. So he's not really all that surprised when he can't get in, literally. And maybe also figuratively.
Hey, Sam, check it out. It's like a pirate code of conduct.
In a couple seconds, we're going to hear how Sam's upset by the pirate colony rules. And the fact for that is that Sam's been in jail for the past 15 years. He hates the idea of rules, and this place is supposed to be his dreams. So the idea that even the place of his dreams has rule is pretty upsetting for him, I think.
The whole point of this place was not having rules.
Well, even pirate ships had their own rules.
So we see the sky starting to turn just a little bit. There's a little bit of fog the closer we get to Henry Avery and the further along we get in this chapter. I think that's a little bit of foreshadowing of what's to come, and not just this chapter, but the one after it. I also love this action that Nathan does with his hand and plays with his ring. I don't know if he did it earlier, I didn't notice, but I love that it's just a nervous tick that he plays with his wedding ring right when his marriage is tumultuous.
Hey, Nathan,
What's
check
this
it out.
symbol?
I saw a few of them when I was coming to find you.
Who's marking these places? Is that another sigil?
No, not that I know of.
Maybe invaders? I mean, I'm sure these guys had plenty of enemies out there.
That's a good point.
I find it interesting that one of the first buildings Sam and Nate enter in is a literally broken home. Like, the house is coming down upon them and everything. But of course, Sam and Nate came from a broken home themselves. Their mother unfortunately committed suicide, or that it's at least implied, and their father abandoned them to an orphanage, so they've only had each other for their entire lives. We also see the blue and orange theme reoccur here on the bricks. So on the left side, you can see the blue. On the right, you can see a slight orange tint, which I think is interesting on the divide. That I think one of the reasons Nate is so motivated to create a home, a family, a quote normal life is because he never had that for himself. He wants to be part of that and to create that for anyone who's left in his house. You can also hear the rats again. And Nate and Sam are often compared to rats a lot in this game. We hear them right when they're about to enter. And when we hear the rats, they often have to crawl or crouch or get through a certain tunnel or small space to get to this sort of treasure. But it shows them literally reducing themselves to get to this treasure, this greed, this passion that they have. So it's interesting.
Look at this. Looks like the layout of the commercial district.
And boom, there's our treasury right there. See, there's the tower.
What were these guys up to?
There's a symbol again.
Yeah. You know, if that symbol was from an invading force, we wouldn't have found it in an underground hideout.
Maybe there was trouble in paradise. Secret society or rebels.
All definite possibilities.
So this image, when I first played the game, was super striking. Just when you walk in, it's just right. This angel that is literally fallen is in the ground in this pile of flowers, and it is gesturing towards a coffin on the right. And you'll notice that Sam is about to interact with it. And I know Sam is literally programmed to interact with certain objects, but I think the ones that he's mostly programmed to interact with are pretty thematically important and help draw your attention to it. So I think it's a testament to Naughty Dog's storytelling capabilities that it makes you the player spend that half second more like, what is Sam looking at? Maybe I should look at it longer. So what I think it means, this angel that has fallen, is that we've seen angels before associated with Sam, like when they're in the orphanage. And Sam is a guardian to Nate, the only guardian Nate has known for most of his life, because his parents abandoned him, whether through suicide or literally giving him up to an orphanage. And they have been, in one piece. But now this angel is literally fallen and being consumed and gesturing towards a coffin, which is death. So whether that is death morally or physically, we don't know at this point, but this object's so important that Sam will interact with it multiple times. But I think it's just really a subtle way of drawing your attention to, in a video game, to how Sam and Nate's relationship has changed in the years. I also think seeing light below is an interesting metaphor in and of itself. Of course, Nate is literally seeing light below, but seeing light is usually the symbol of hope, like going towards light, going towards goodness. But the fact that it's below is sort of an indicator that something's off. We also see that the sky is in partial cloud coverage. So there's still some sunlight, but it's also partly cloudy. We see that there's a sort of tropical storm possibly brewing. And I think that's an indicator of Nate's relationship with Sam at the moment. Like, everything seems hunky-dory right now. They're going on an adventure. He's doing it for his brother to help him from Hector Alcazar. But of course, Hector Alcazar doesn't exist. Well, he's been killed. And so we can see this little patch of clear where everything's fine. But right on the left, there are clouds just brewing. And Nate is in this jagged landscape, this sort of foreboding but also beautiful, lush landscape. It's this beautiful dichotomy that I think is just really well done. Just another little subtle visual cue that not all is as it seems. So again, we see that Sam is positioned right in front of the birds, in front of freedom. And Sam is obsessed with that freedom, almost at any cost, in a way, because he has been deprived of it for so long. And we see the storm really starting to brew on the right, where where Nate is, and Sam on the left is just positioned underneath the sole patch of blue. So it shows their dispositions, that Nate has given up a lot, that he's sort of upset that not everything is perfect for him, and Sam is in this sort of hunky-dory state. He's got everything he's wanted at the moment. So again, really interesting stuff. Did you think we were done with the Memento Mori? Because we're not. As soon as we jump in, we see these golden inlaid skull and crossbones symbols. And on the right, we see another red flag or red curtain, as it were. But they're all symbols that are giving Nathan just literal clues of being like, stop, do not go, this is dangerous, like literal red flags. And of course, the skull and crossbones is Henry Avery's symbol, but it's interesting. We also see these two red birds, so dangerous birds, flying off in tandem together, which I think is similar to how Nathan and Sam are right at the moment. They're flying in tandem, parallel towards each other, towards this goal, but the birds are red, so it's a little bit dangerous.
We're definitely in the high-rent district now.
Not residential, though. You think some kind of administration building?
Probably. Maybe Libertalia had a zoning committee.
Yeah. Maybe they paid taxes.
Who knows?
You'll notice that Nathan is running towards a statue of a woman with a compass right below it. And I find that interesting design choice because this woman is literally above him, looking below, and there's a compass, which implies that there is some sort of direction Nathan should be following. And later on, in a couple chapters, Elena is going to find Nathan when he is at his worst, literally hits bottom, is pushed off a cliff, and is near death. And the fallen angel Sam interacts with is like the path Nathan is currently on, which is leading him towards something that is not good. And this woman that is higher than him, the statue of a woman, is a compass that can be literally elevated, that is trying to show him the way. And yet Nathan, it's just in the background for Nathan. He's ignoring it.
Look at these materials. This must have taken years and years to build.
Now with great piles of money.
Comes no responsibility or restraint, apparently. Ish.
Yeah, well, money can't buy taste.
Once again, we hear and see rats right when the Drake brothers are about to discover something. And once again, we have to crawl through a small object, lowering ourselves before we get to this other area.
Holy crap.
Well, I see our missing colonists. Some of them, anyway.
Jesus. Cannons, improvised barricades? What the hell happened here?
Some kind of battle.
It's a rhetorical question. The real question is who's fighting who? And why?
Some of these bodies, dressed a bit more fancy, look like soldiers.
In case those red curtains and subtle inlays of skulls were too subtle for you, now we have a literal battlefield strewn of dead men with women looking down, statues of women, and red flags are everywhere. So the red flags are obviously banners of a side, but literally there are statues of women just looking down at men.
So it was the colonists versus the soldiers.
And if that's the treasury up there,
It appears someone was trying to make a withdrawal.
yeah, let's just hope they didn't succeed.
Right?
And because of that literal difference in height, it seems that like the women are judging the men, looking down and disapproval, which Elena definitely is in right now, and that they are literally elevated in a higher being, in a higher sense. And the men are literally dead and the way of death, while these women still have a form. This relief is also interesting over here because on the left we have a young man holding grapes, which is often associated with wine, and a wolf. And on the right we have an old man leaning on a cane with a snake around either a tree branch or a hand, probably intentionally ambiguous. So they're the two sides of life, of youth and death. And here we have Nathan stand literally in the middle of them. So he just happens to walk up right between the two. And Nathan is, of course, middle-aged himself. So he's caught in between this youthful pleasure and this looking forward to death and pondering on what your life means and what it means to live a fulfilling life and how to live one's values. So I think that relief is interesting in of itself.
Man, this is impressive.
So this is where I'm going to end it this week. Thank you for watching. I hope you consider liking, commenting, and possibly even subscribing. And I hope to see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.